Climate change, military coups, and the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated inequalities, and the UN top diplomat did not mince his words as fellow world leaders, including President Hage Geingob, listened attentively to his rather sterner than usual speech. Guterres pointed out that the world is moving in an unsustainable and wrong direction. The unequal distribution of COVID-19 vaccines is another concern, as some countries remain at the mercy of others to vaccinate their citizens in order to reach herd immunity.
Solidarity is missing in action just when we need it most. Perhaps one image tells the tale of our times. The picture we have seen from some parts of the world of COVID-19 vaccines in the garbage, expired and unused. On the one hand, we see the vaccines developed in record time, a victory of science and human ingenuity. On the other hand, we see their triumph undone by the tragedy of lack of political will, selfishness, and mistrust. A surplus in some countries, empty shelves in others. A majority of the wealthier world vaccinated, over 90% of Africans still waiting for the first dose. This is a moral indictment of the state of our world. It is an obscenity. We passed the science test, but we are getting an F in ethics.
The UN leader is also not impressed with member states engaged in economic rivalries, especially during a time when collective efforts are needed to address global problems. The US, China, Russia, and Iran are just some of those accused of stalling efforts to dialogues needed to find common solutions.
We are seeing an explosion in seizures of power by force. Military coups are back. And the lack of unity among the international community does not help. Geopolitical divisions are undermining international cooperation and limiting the capacity of the Security Council to take the necessary decisions. A sense of impunity is taking hold. And at the same time, it will be impossible to address dramatic economic and developed challenges while the world's two largest economies are at odds with each other. Yet I fear our world is creeping towards two different sets of economic, trade, financial, and technological rules, two divergent approaches in the development of artificial intelligence, and ultimately, the risk of two different military and geopolitical strategies. And this is a recipe for trouble. It would be far less predictable than the Cold War. To restore trust and inspire hope, we need cooperation, we need dialogue, we need understanding.
But US President and host Joe Biden, much to the amusement of the world leaders, says his administration has spent the last 8 months to rebuild alliances. For Biden, the use of US military might well be a last resort as he calls for a science-based solutions in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic and climate change. The UNGA high-level debates will continue over the next 9 days. Blanche Coreses, NBC News, UN Headquarters.